gonna lie, I was gonna do a deep dive on how Scooby Doo films have had highs and lows, but after rewatching The Curse of the 13th Ghost movie and Return to Zombie Island, I decided to do this cartoon talk about how these two movies are a complete disrespect to the original classic stories that it told. For those who haven't seen it, good, cause you shouldn't have. Hearing these two movie titles, you're thinking, it must be good. Far from it. Both of these films suffer from meddling. And I don't mean the Scooby Gang's meddling, I mean the higher-ups meddling. Let's start with The Curse of the 13th Ghost movie. The premise is that after the gang are forced to retire after getting a wrong suspect to a crime, they are selling things out of Daphne's garage, only for a customer to come across the crystal orb that Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby know all too well about. Vincent Van Gogh appears, telling them that the 13th ghost has finally appeared, and that they must go travel to go capture him. So, for those unaware about this film was supposed to be like a sequel to a long-awaited answer from the series The 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, where Daphne, Scooby, and Shaggy had to travel all over the world to capture 13 ghosts that were released from the chest of demons. It had 13 episodes, but the 13th ghost was never captured. The series ended without an answer. Velma and Fred were not present during those events because they were away at camp in the summer. So when this came up and they were obviously confused by this, it was because that the others decided to keep their real ghost hunting adventures a secret, due to how traumatizing it was, especially for Scooby. I even think that was an episode plot at one point. Now, this whole thing, it seems like it was setting up something good, right? And it kinda did. I was very invested in the first couple of minutes. But then, once the gang reached the Himalayas with Vincent, things began to change up. Here's where the meddling from the higher-ups come in. See, nothing really supernatural is shown in this film, or anything magical, cause Vincent is a sorcerer, but he doesn't do any magic on screen. Vincent doesn't do any magic spells because he's having wizard's block. And then, it was revealed that the 13th ghost was a guy in a costume, and the chest of demons that they had was just a food container that Shaggy had for some reason, that he just had that looked exactly like the chest of demons. Huh? Why? Whatever. The real one does show up, but everyone stops Velma from opening it because they say, what if you're wrong? Oh yeah, Velma really irritated me in this movie. The entire time, she was just 100% against believing anything her friends said about all of their adventures, and then deduces that everything they saw was just the hallucinations because they were so high up in the mountains. Excuse me?
Why? Why not?
What? That doesn't make any sense. You're telling me that every single thing that happened to them was them seeing things? Lady, they traveled all over the world. They got sent into a comic book. They dealt with witches. Daphne became a werewolf in the first episode. I could go on and on about every single thing they faced. Okay, so in the beginning, I could understand her being skeptical because she wasn't there to experience it all. But come on, she was just so annoying in this. The movie ends with not really a full conclusion. We don't trap the 13th ghost at all. Why would they do this? Easy, because WB, Warner Brothers, wanted to keep the whole kids learning that monsters aren't real, and the monsters are the criminals beneath the mask. They're the real monsters. Okay, I get it, but this doesn't apply here. They dealt with real ghosts in the series, and you made it be like, was it real or was it not? Even though everyone else clearly didn't buy it, and they know what they went through. And we, the fans, know what they went through. Also, they try to erase Scrappy as the intro cuts him from any of the retellings from the show's events. And for some reason, Fred and Velma don't seem to know him. This also doesn't make any sense because Scrappy showed up in the series way before the 13th Ghost series. So it doesn't make any sense that Velma and Fred don't know him. Also, Flim Flam, who was also in the show, appears aged up, which is strange because he was a kid back then. But the gang are also around the same age, so now he looks like he's around their age now? What? Anyway. And now, we move on to the biggest offender of them all. Scooby Doo, Return to Zombie Island. When I first heard this movie was being made, I was like, why are they going back there? Why would you go back there? But then, once the plot and screenshots were shown, I was fearful. And then the movie came out, and I want to erase this movie from existence.
Ew! Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
Not only did this movie retcon everything about the original, it basically just spat on it in the worst way ever. Even more so than The Curse of the 13th Ghost. At least that one had a plot, and it took itself seriously in the beginning, and it had me invested. That movie, it had me invested in the first couple of minutes. But this? Nah. First, here's a big error. It picks up right after the Curse of the 13th Ghost movie. Huh? How? Why? Why would it do that? How would it take place after that movie? When the events of Zombie Island take place when the gang are all grown up and had jobs? Well, here's a simple answer for that. Because they want to keep the illusion of the gang remaining as teenagers in school. So they retcon everything as if all the past films and all the past TV series happened when they were still in school. Meaning, Daphne was just on summer break interning at this news station for a project. They made Simone's house into a hotel. They got rid of the undercover officer. And the biggest confusing thing was, the events, they did happen, but how do you have this actual supernatural occurrence, and yet in many other films, since this all happens in the same new timeline, don't believe in the supernatural? What?
So I am confusion.
Plus, that movie when Shaggy became a werewolf happened, but the rest of the gang weren't there. Maybe he told them about it, but then how would you have this film happen directly after a movie where Fred was surprised that real supernatural things were real that the others experienced when this film was all about a supernatural thing that happened? Oh my goodness, my head! Moving on. This movie was boring and disrespectful to the original. Oh, and you guessed it, Velma was beyond frustrating in this movie. Oh my god. Velma was on a crusade to prove that what happened to them in Zombie Island wasn't real, despite everyone else saying and knowing it did happen. But nope, science! And at the end, she deduces that the people in cat costumes in this movie were the same people that they came across last time.
Excuse me?
And the zombies were all just swamp gas hallucinations? No. Both of those reasons, especially that first thing about the cat people, doesn't make any sense. Lady. Velma. They turned into cat people in front of you. disintegrated in front of you, including the zombies. In the original, Velma was not a total skeptic. Like, she wasn't dead set on proving anything supernatural wasn't real. She was accepting. And now in this, she's like 100% against it. Nah, these are two different Velmas. Something that I've noticed lately is that ever since that Kiss Band crossover movie, the writing of Velma has taken a turn where she is a very serious skeptic, to the point where I want to ask her if she needs help. Because it's like, if she's proven wrong and she finds out that supernatural is actually real, it's the end of the world. Velma, you ride in a van and solve mysteries with a talking dog. Why don't you ever question that? Warner Brothers really just had this movie made for just cash, and their push for the children should see that the criminals are the real monsters doesn't fit in either of these films, because real supernatural things happened, and you're just erasing what made them good. By the way, when they did a flashback of Zombie Island, they reanimated the scenes, and they actually looked really nice. So what they should have done is do a re-release of the film with the updated animation visuals, but keep the voice acting from back then. Anyway, these two films didn't need to be made because nothing significant happened other than having us fans be severely disappointed. If they do a quote-unquote sequel to Witch's Ghost, I dread to see how they ruin that movie too.